Fashion is always changing. In the modern world, fashion has become incredibly important. It has the power to transform an image and make a social statement. Looking good isn't important. It's everything.
Fashion world. This is a city where trends and designs are set for the whole world. But where does the fashion come from? What is it that made the industry be successful over the last decades? How is it structured from drawing swatches of clothes on a piece of paper to the finished product? How many stages and locations does a fashion design go through? This industry has experienced major changes in recent years. To compile these, analysts will explore the macro and micro environment of the fashion industry.
Throughout history, fashion has been a luxury of the higher class. From the 18th century in cities such as London, Paris, only nobles and rich class were able to buy fashionable clothes. In the early 20th century, only the older generation, like elderly gentlemen, spent money in the fashion industry. If you think of your grandparents, like your granddad, he went to a tailor, got his customized suit. The little guy on the street couldn't afford to buy fashion. But just as fashion has changed over the decades, so did the market and the industry changed. In today's society, fashion has become a reflection of an individual's personality and his or her characteristic. It even involves brands that nowadays operate internationally to satisfy the market.
How would you describe the market type of the fashion industry?
How would I describe the market type of fashion industry? Well, there are hundreds of clothing labels on a national as well as an international basis. There's no such thing as a key player with significant power in the market. And most of these brands sell the same, isn't it? Like shirts, pants, jackets, socks, it's all the same. So there's little differentiation between them. So you could easily start your own fashion label with little capital funding and background knowledge. Barriers of entry are very, very low. As far as I'm concerned, yeah, they're very low. You just need to have the sense of trend, where the trend is going, and make your product look distinct from the other brands so that everybody can recognize your brand. And there you go, you have your own fashion label. So I would say it's a perfect competition.
Anyone would say it's perfect competition, has no clue of this industry.
So would you say it's an oligopoly type of market?
Not really. I would say it's a mix of both. An oligopolistic market, there are only 4 to 20 large firms that dominate industry. The competition is high since every company tries to keep an eye on the other. I would agree that exist numerous brands in fashion, but if you take a close look in this industry, you will find out that many labels can be grouped together. What would I mean by grouped? Okay, well, I think this is the certain way. Look, the position map of all this brand in relation price, quality, customized to the mass produced here. Here you can identify there are group of label that large the price.
Their products consist of high quality materials and price of their product is set on the same level. Dolce & Gabbana, Versace, Armani, Hugo Boss, etc. are firms that I'm thinking of right now in that sense. The clothes and fashion are very unique and not everyone is able to buy this kind of clothes.
On the other end, there's the mass production of clothes that just has the only function of being sold to the general public on affordable prices. The firms operating in this market do not really bother about uniqueness or distinctiveness of their product. They just want to supply the need of what in their mind is the bigger proportion of the population. In order to achieve this, producers send their designs to developing countries where labor force and material can be purchased at a very cheap level.
Well, an example, I would say Mark Spencer, Primark and Tesco. Of course, both design wear and mass producer go to the same way. They design their product in the fashion capital of the world, London, New York, Paris and Milan, and then send it for the manufacturer to developing country and get the final product being sent back a distribution center from where the other country are supplied.
This is only able through a well-built logistic network. Without cheap supplies and good logistics, the price wouldn't be this low. And of course, there are firms that can be placed in between those poles. Those firms are clothing labels such as Lacoste, Ben Sherman, Bench, Ted Baker. These firms try to be a designer brand at affordable prices, so to say, money levels with the name. Now if you take, for example, Ben Sherman Group, they opened more, and they're trying to open more and more of their own shops, their own stores on major fashion high streets to increase their competitiveness on the retail fashion industry. All of these brands that lie within both poles spend a lot of money promoting their product on the media. It's not only TV, but it's mainly magazines such as GQ, Elle, Vice, FHM that have these magazines have always sections of fashion and clothing in there, where you can find these labels being promoted. Nonetheless, to mention that these labels also collaborate with musicians whose music targets the same kind of customers. So the music, the people who are listening to a certain kind of music, and the clothing label are aiming the same kind of consumers. Right now there's one label in my mind that tries to continue the strategy, that goes to strategy. It's Ben Sherman. Ben Sherman is famous for dressing bands such as Red Hot Chili Peppers, Foo Fighters and Madness.
Can you name me a very successful UK label?
In my opinion, it's Ben Sherman.
Ben Sherman.
Ben Sherman.
Would you describe the fashion industry as market or product orientated?
Well, I would say it's product oriented. Most designer brands set their style in the fashion shows that take place twice a year. It's spring and summer and autumn and winter. In these stages, the labels set the way the products will look like, and the mass producers just try to follow the trend of the fashion. They just try to change their range to where the trend is going. Designers make use of various sources to set this trend. Mainly it's been music and culture. Music and fashion has always had a strong link between each other. Music artists created their own way of look. They wanted to express their way of thinking and their individuality. All the other way around, fashion labels tried to market their products by advertising their product via music artists. This of course has the necessity of clothes symbolizing and expressing the mentality of the music. Whereas 20 years ago, shoulder pads were in, nowadays just a simple t-shirt with some writing on it. It's really in.